Warriors of the Sky. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and I've been racking my brain for, well, the past 2 weeks since the Warriors of the Sky update landed, trying to figure out, more than 2 weeks, trying to figure out what is the point of the Warriors of the Sky? Where are they good? What game mode are we supposed to use them in? I'm not saying they're bad. I was just really trying to crack the code and sort of solve the puzzle, because maybe I was the only player, but I think some players might have felt the same way. But I felt like, you know, they were supposed to usher in something, right? And we never really got, we didn't get a game mode that they were obviously good for. We were, well, I should say I was thinking that with the Warriors of the Sky coming out, they've been advertising the Warriors of the Sky since like October, September. So man, like, it's going to be a huge update, and it was a huge update for different reasons, and the story mode was reworked. But it has absolutely nothing to do with the Warriors of the Sky. You can't even use the Warriors of the Sky in the new story mode. So then I saw their kits, and I saw their sort of their passives and how they synergize together, and I'm like, okay, 50% all defense, 25% damage reduction for her, revive for him, like, you know, Blue Dragon's got debuff and damage buff. Like, these are definitely PvP characters, right? But let's be honest, it's really hard in Marvel Future Fight to come out to be a brand new character, to be good for PvP without a tier 3, without a uniform. It's really, really hard. Like, what's the last character that's still good for PvP without a uniform or a tier 3? Yeah. And he's got pretty much, a tier 3 and a uniform are the only things he doesn't have. He literally has every single ability on his third skill. It has every single ability. I checked, it's got every single one. This one's got crazy damage plus stun and freeze and all the stuff, and fracture. And then this one's got insane buffs and also minus 65% for 10 seconds. So, like, you know, he's got it all. But, like, man, I'm just trying to rack my brain. I've been trying to rack my brain, and I cannot figure it out. So I think the Warriors of the Sky represent something different. And I think that's why they're called the Warriors of the Sky. Sarcasm right now, guys. The Warriors of the Sky represent the fact that we've hit the sky. We've hit the limit. We're here. We're finally here, Marvel Future Fight. We are at the limit. We are at the saturation point, the oversaturation point, as Willy Wonka would call it. There's too much chocolate in the chocolate river. We just don't have any use for these characters. I mean, we have use for these characters, and, you know, depending on your account, these characters are above average. I think Shadow Shell and War Tiger, particularly as free characters, are better than, you know, 80% of the other free characters in the game. So as far as their power level goes compared to other characters, it's very, very good. You know, I think War Tiger is a very, very good recommendation for brand new players. Auto healing and cooldown leadership is extremely rare to get, on top of a 6-second immunity. So, I mean, great. I think he's a great free-to-play character, and I think Shadow Shell is as well. I don't recommend that new players invest into Sunbird, but they could, and they could get a tier 1 Sunbird that can revive their Shadow Shell and War Tiger. And then I think Blue Dragon is probably as good, if not better, than Iceman, and maybe she's as good or better than Emma Frost. So, I mean, these characters are not bad by any right, but what I'm trying to say by we have no use for them is they're not, you know, overly powerful. They're not going to be, they're not best in slot for anything. They're not best in support. They only support each other. Whereas, you know, if you go back to previous updates, you can kind of see what I'm saying with a little bit more clarity. So in the last update, you know, Slapstick was probably the best character introduced in the last full update. He's got revive, he's got damage. Again, he's not amazing, but he's a striker for World Boss. You can use him in PvP solo. You don't necessarily have to build an entire team around him. Again, he's not Silver Surfer, but he's not that far away. He's certainly a lot closer than any of the Warriors of the Sky. You can also consider and argue that Negasonic was really, really good. Great striker as well. And she's doing some crazy stuff like finishing, you know, 50 Cull Obsidian in 10 seconds or whatever, like some crazy damage like that. You go back and update further, you've got Dr. Voodoo, good character, very, very good for free to play. He's got mind control as a striker, and with the all defense down, and with the leadership being so unique, he's the very first free to play character to have this leadership. So you don't have to spend the crystals for White Fox. You don't have to spend the Biosub for Enchantress. So we've had all of these characters, but this is the first update where I'm just like, what do we need these characters for? Really? Like if you've been playing for more than a couple of years and you have most of the characters on the roster either unlocked or maxed out, you don't need the Warriors of the Sky. I don't need the Warriors of the Sky. They literally don't do anything better than any other character. And the saddest, not the saddest part, but the bummer about that and the extra confusing part is that they're actually better. And they're actually more complicated characters than just a regular tier 2 character like Slapstick or whatever, Minerva, because they have this awakened ability. But I've seen zero content. I've scoured the internet. I've asked everyone in my alliance. I've asked all the whales who have maxed out these skills. They're not that good. So what was the point? I don't understand. Is there some sort of game mode that these skills are going to be good for that we just haven't seen yet? Is this just a way of... Yeah, I really don't know. So yeah, that's basically that's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to express. I want to take these characters. Well, I want to take War Tiger and Shadow Shell into some content, but I kind of wanted to get that off my chest because I've been like really trying to figure this out. And again, I'm not saying they're bad characters. They're definitely not bad characters, but I cannot answer the question of like what game mode are they actually like needed for. They're not needed for any character, and maybe we've already hit the oversaturation point in Marvel Future Fight, but I thought it'd be a pretty funny joke to say that the Warriors of the Sky have made us reach the sky and reach the limit on you know, character oversaturation, because we just don't have any game modes for these characters at all, right? And that's really what it boils down to. And Marvel Future Fight, I think the devs know that by now. So anyways, this is a stage 75. I want to see... Oh, we can use the warrior skill right away. Okay, this is what it looks like in Shadowland. I want to check this out. He's just kind of standing there. Oh, so Sky Karen is actually really small, which is pretty funny. I wanted to see how good she is. I think... Do you know what the one thing I will say about the Warriors of the Sky? I think they're really good for Shadowland. That is one thing I can say. I think they're really good for Shadowland. Like, this is a CTP of Judgment, but she is melting this with no leadership, nothing at all. And she's not even getting hit, which is the other wild part. Like, if Cap comes in and he has, you know, debuff immunity, he's going to hopefully hit her. If he hits her, she's going to do even more damage. I think this Awaken skill looks hilarious in Shadowland. Like, the Sky Current actually isn't that big, and I would love to see how this looks in like another game mode, like Conquest or something like that. I would actually love Conquest to just be a better game mode, but you know, I have hopes and dreams. I'm a bit unrealistic sometimes. I'm a bit of a dreamer. But yeah, hopefully if Cap can hit that debuff. But yeah, you can see, like, you know, imagine, you know, if you gave her a uniform and everything, she could go higher than 75. I think these characters are going to be really great for helping more veteran accounts push to high levels of Shadowland if you want to try and get some of those high-end rewards, like the... what happened to the damage? They ran away from it? If you're trying to get rewards like that Mega Tier 2 ticket or the CCF or something like that, or the Mythic Uniform Upgrade ticket, I think the Warriors of the Sky are really going to help for that, and I don't think you need to give them crazy CTPs for them to do it. I think the Warriors of the Sky can definitely compete on your roster for Shadowland, but like, man, for Shadowland, you know, that's something that we kind of turned into a meme because it's just something that doesn't really mean much anymore because Shadowland is like, you know, it's just not that... it's not that rewarding. So even though we're here and we're using these characters for it, it just turns into a situation where you're like, okay, I guess one more character for Shadowland. And yeah, once you get to like 300 characters, it'll be a situation where most players can do up to stage 130 of Shadowland. But that just seems like, you know, something that just doesn't seem very appealing. And it's not. Game modes should be fun, and it shouldn't be like, oh, I can't wait to play this game mode in 2 years when there's so many characters that it's just guaranteed that I can get to stage 130. It's a nice little goal for veteran players for sure, but I think the core gameplay of Shadowland definitely needs a rework because it's been how many years, literally years, and we still only have 42 unique stages. You want us to go up to 130, but you've only made 42 unique stages. That means at the very least, and it's actually way more than this, by the way, but at the very least, we're going to see the same stage 4 times, if my math, or 3 times, if my math is correct. That's pretty brutal. You want us to basically repeat every stage 3 times? There's no variety there whatsoever. I don't even know what rotation I'm doing, and he can do this stage. So that's something I wanted to illustrate about the Warriors of the Sky. You know, we make fun of Shadowland, or we make fun of Marvel Future Fight when in the live stream when they were like, this character's for Shadowland only. Yeah, I get that. Shadowland is pretty straightforward nowadays, but even though it's not as challenging as it once was when we didn't have that many good characters, and when getting to stage 30 was, you know, a feat. I mean, it's still a feat for new accounts, but once you get to the 6-month mark, you can get to stage 30 of Shadowland if you play every day and if you unlock the characters. I might die here. Just, yeah, I'm not paying attention. So he can definitely do it from a damage perspective. I just wasn't paying attention and I died from the flames. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to give them CTPs. That was kind of the original idea for this video. I was like, man, I want to come in and rant to you guys that I don't know what to do with the Warriors of the Sky, and I'm just going to slap on some PvE CTPs and see what they can do. And I still want to do that. Well, she already has a CTP, but I really don't think they're for PvP. I wanted them to be for PvP. I thought that they had synergy for PvP, especially with the leadership of Blue Dragon, Sunbird's passive, and Shadow Shell's passive, but you try out this team and it just doesn't work. It gets completely owned by Silver Surfer with his iframe ignore. You can't kill Thanos because he has too much immunity, or sorry, too much resistances. He has base 50 for all resistances. Same thing goes for Jean Grey. If Jean Grey wasn't hard enough to kill, she has 100% base resistances. So all of this elemental damage just gets absolutely blitzed. So it really just comes down to, like, you know, they're mostly for new players. I would guess, if I had to guess, I'd say the Warriors of the Sky are mostly for new players, and they are mostly just for helping you sort of build a team. And they've got the team thematic thing going on. They're introducing a new ability with this Awaken thing. I think maybe the next characters that get the Awakened ability are going to be a lot better, but we'll have to wait and see. One more time, I wanted to try this out real quick. Let's pop this Awaken skill. This one's level 5. This level 5 Awaken skill. It's almost completely maxed out. The damage, I don't think, is going to be that much better, but it's not bad. Let's see what he can do now with her leadership rather than just, you know, whatever he had before. Oh, man, he's going to take a lot of damage, though. We might have to switch back and forth between the Warriors of the Sky. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I hype myself up too much. Maybe some people in the community just thought the Warriors of the Sky were going to usher in some kind of new game mode or some sort of new way to play. I definitely talked up a lot the idea of having a team of 4 rather than a team of 3, because it really makes no sense why the Warriors of the Sky are 4, but you can still only put 3 on a team. So yeah, I mean, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to complain. We already know the truth. We need more game modes, or revamped game modes, or reworked game modes in Marvel Future Fight. That's not going to change. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, but it's, you know, whether the Warriors of the Sky came or not, that was going to be the case. So, but yeah, pretty good from him with a 160 proc. And my bad rotation, missing most of these. But I want to go back and pop that Sky Kieran skill a little bit, because it's hilarious to see, kind of like a mini Sky Kieran. It looks like a mini dragon turtle. It's pretty funny. I do enjoy, and I honestly, and I've said it before on the Twitch live streams, but he's like hovering too. It's really funny. I've said it on the Twitch live streams. I think that Shadowland is one of the most beautiful game modes for showing off how Marvel Future Fight looks and showing off like the animations and stuff, because it's so clear. You could see everything very you know, very up close and personal. Whereas there's so much noise in World Boss, you can't really tell what's going on. So that's something I can really appreciate about Shadowland, but just the rewards are so bad. And the time it takes to grind up, especially for veterans who have a huge roster, the time it takes to grind up to stage 60, 70, 80, it's so exhausting. I barely have enough time to do it, and, you know, this is my job, so I have sympathy for players who don't have the time to do it, or who feel exhausted to do it every week, because it must be a really big you know, push to get it done week after week after week. So yeah, like I said, hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you want to see any kind of CTP on War Tiger. I'm leaning towards Rage personally, but if you want to see something else, hit me up in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.